Good morning and a warm welcome to everyone who's joined us here at the Investec office in London. We've got a room full of people over here, but if you are watching us on a screen virtually anywhere in the world, a warm welcome to you wherever you find yourself. My name is Elma Smith and it's such a great honour for me to join all of you here this morning on what is a brilliant new dawn. It's actually really fitting that we're doing this first thing in the morning. The Investec Champions Cup has arrived and it's ready for kick-off. I'm not alone. I'm co-hosting this event today with a phenomenal team over in Johannesburg who are joining us from Investec over there. And then I'm not alone on stage. I'm joined by Ruth Lees, the Chief Executive Officer of Investec PLC, Dominic McKay, the Chairman of the EPCR. And if you're familiar with the EPCR, but you haven't come across Jacques Renault yet, it's because he's new. He's the new Chief Executive Officer. We spent some time together in Dublin for that phenomenal final. He's got great plans. And this is such an ambitious rugby property. It's amazing to see them partnering with a passionate and really committed global brand like Investec. Let me hand over to Mochidisi Mohono, the inimitable, the face of rugby in South Africa, looking splendid as always. We are led. Good morning, Mox.
Thank you, Elma. Good morning. Good morning to everybody here at the Joburg office as well. It's a pleasure to host you today. I am Mochidisi Mohono, and yeah, a very, very exciting day for rugby, for the rugby property of the Champions Cup as well. Also joined by two big heavyweights here at Investec in South Africa. Not like that. Don't be naughty. These people are signing your checks. You should be nice, guys. Richard Wainwright, he's the Chief Executive Officer of Investec Group Limited, I beg your pardon, and Avi Mkhwatsane, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of Investec Group. So we'll be speaking a little bit later. They'll be touching on just why this is such a big and splendid day, not only for this brand, but for sport and rugby in particular. So really looking forward to this one. But Alma, yeah, let's lay out the carpet now. Why exactly have we gathered this morning?
Well, the 2022-23 season brought with it phenomenal moments of flair and fun and phenomenal success on and off the pitch. 71 million people watched as the last season unfolded and were absolutely won over by the performances on the pitch. Let's take a closer look if you missed any of the action over the last year. Stuff. Ruth Lees, tell me about the decision to get on board with the Champions Cup, Challenge Cup, the EPCR in general, and this really big investment that you're making in rugby.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I hope you're not referring to me as a big heavyweight. Richard and Amy in South Africa. Nevertheless, we're delighted to welcome everybody here today as we celebrate the launch of our latest partnership. This is a very significant partnership for our business. The Investec Champions Cup, I like the ring to that, is one of the world's biggest and best rugby competitions, which brings together teams from all around the world. The global nature of this competition reflects our growing international presence. We are located in our core geographies of South Africa and the UK, and of course rugby connecting these two geographies together, but also growing international presence across Europe, as well as in the US and India, the Channel Islands and Ireland. This growing presence in Europe, where we've been lending for many years, but more recently taking a majority stake in Capital Mind, which is M&A advisory in Europe. So it's a tournament also that's very poignant for our audiences here in the UK, a very proud centre of rugby heritage. And certainly having been in the UK for 30 years now, we have sought to embed ourselves in the culture and the locality of the UK, and are very committed to this geography and where we can grow and take things going forward. So certainly our sponsorships, and particularly our sports sponsorships, in the past have been relevant in terms of creating and embedding our brand and brand recognition in society here, and have helped us to build our presence. And this is a continuation of that legacy. So just as the world of business has changed, so the world of sport is changing, and we are committed as well to working together with our partner, EPCR, to evolve the competition. We are very committed to sustainability and to diversity, and we will be looking to work together in whichever ways we can to evolve the competition and evolve the sport as we go forward. Positive impact is always what we've strived for in terms of our partnerships. We have promoted many women's games in sports such as golf and hockey. Encouraging also grassroots participation in sport is really key to our hearts. This reflects Investec's purpose to create enduring. We look very much forward for this partnership to flourish, to extend the legacy, building on what we built on many, many years before.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ruth. Now, that principle of enduring worth, I think, is just, it's so powerful, Dominic. I think that's something that the Champions Sky Challenge Cup and EPCR as an organisation certainly seems to be striving for, and this is such a strong overlap.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Ruth, thank you for that. I want to thank you for the introduction. Hello to colleagues in South Africa, and to those here at Investec's HQ in London. It's a pleasure to see you all on what is a really momentous moment for EPCR and for the Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup. And as Ruth mentioned, the alignment between both our organisations is genuine, and I'm really excited about how that's going to unfold in the seasons ahead. We like to think, humbly, that we are a world-leading organisation. We represent the greatest global club tournament in the world, and we're supported by wonderful leagues that feed into that competition. We're iconic, we're steeped in history. There's players in this room today that will recall to some of those wonderful moments in our great history. We're quality, we have the best players and the best clubs playing in our competition. That's something we're incredibly proud of. And we love celebrating those players, those moments, those events with our partners, and we look forward to doing that with Investec in the months and the years ahead. And then finally, the two things which were really interesting to us as an organisation is we want to use sport to inspire, to excite, and to bring cultures together. And we think the partnership that we have with Investec will offer that, straddling hemispheres, but also importantly bringing different rivalries together in our competition and celebrating those moments. And I wonder, there's a few slides that I might just sort of talk about, just to remind everybody of the size and the scale of our competition that will be the Investec Champions Cup. We bring together the 42 best clubs in the world from 8 different countries. South Africa, of course, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Italy, and France. So you really have the greatest players coming together annually to play in what is the most prestigious competition. And I think that slide shows the scale and the size of this wonderful new partnership, and we'll look forward to evolving that. Our next slide sort of talks around the quality of those teams and the way in which we structure our competition. Our competition is in the Champions Cup with Investec. It's 24 teams spread across 4 pools of 6. And if you just look at those names, it is rugby royalty coming together. We were proud to welcome last year our South African clubs into the competition, and they've added not only sparkle but quality and abundance into this great competition. And again, that's something we look forward to building on together in the season ahead. Our final slide for me is just to remind everyone how our competition operates. We've got 63 matches, 4 rounds where the teams battle it out during December and January. And again, it'll be interesting to see the weather in South Africa and the weather in Europe during those windows, because they're quite different, real challenges for the teams. Then we move into the real exciting part of the competition with the round of 16, the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and indeed the final. So we think we're in a great competition, we've got a great partner, and we've got some really exciting things planned for the season ahead.
Speaking of the season ahead, roughly a year ago, when we were talking about this competition and where it was heading south. And a lot of people looked at it a little unsure of what to expect. We've seen the great success and the kind of support they've enjoyed out in South Africa. What's new now? Where is the horizon? What are you pursuing? Where are the areas of emphasis?
I think, like Investec, we share an ambition to constantly improve and develop, and we're doing that across our whole organisation. We've just brought in a new chief executive, and part of Jacques and the whole exec team's job is to deliver a new strategy. And our strategy is very ambitious. We want to grow, expand into new markets, but make sure we protect our position as the greatest club in the world. And if I give a couple of small anecdotes in terms of the success of last season, where over 1 million spectators coming in to watch our games across the season. 71 million spectators watching live rugby during the course of the competition. And one of what I think was one of the most wonderful finals ever seen for a Champions Cup final last year. So we have all the ingredients for wonderful success. And the joy of today is celebrating this new partnership with Investec and where this new 5-year partnership will take us.
Amazing. Such great promise. Before we cross back to Johannesburg, Jacques, I'd just like to check in with you on this really big opportunity ahead. What is it that you're most excited about?
So it's a new era, starting with a new title partner. Definitely there's a new era. We will continue to expand. We will continue to be ambitious. We have plans to expand further. We have invited a Georgian club this year, the Challenge Cup, and we're looking to further options. We are looking also to have not only a new ambitious but also a responsible EPCR, which is in perfect alignment with the Investec value. We have become a purpose-led organization. We are going to grow the women's game. We are going to be much more focused on reducing and offsetting our carbon footprint. And the player welfare is our third pillar of the impact strategy. It is part of our strategic plan to make sure that we have a socially responsible role and we are a force for good in player welfare. So this is kind of the roadmap. Just the future tomorrow or in a few days is the Rugby World Cup. I just want to make the link between EPCR, best players, best teams and the Rugby World Cup. But if you stats that I prepared, 317 players from 17 nations will be at the Rugby World Cup are playing for EPCR clubs involved in EPCR competitions. All of the France, Scotland, Ireland and England 33 Rugby World Cup squad are EPCR competitor. And 25 out of 53 of the South African World squad is playing for clubs involved in the Investec Champions Cup or the Challenge Cup. So this is the exciting immediate future. And then we have December start for the Investec Champions Cup, where I picked up some of the don't miss fixtures. So the Saracens, former Champions Cup winner, are going to travel to South Africa for the first time. We will have a formidable replay of last year's final, which you highlighted as probably one of the best finals in Champions Cup history. But this time Leinster playing La Rochelle and South Africa. A South African team is going to visit the Champions Cup. I know lists of champions start watch day for the first time on December 16th. So don't miss the first 2 rounds of the new Investec Champions Cup.
Only 99 sleeps. That's my message. Only 99 sleeps to go. Luckily, we've got tons of rugby entertainment in the meantime, but the clock is ticking. Over to you, Mart. We haven't heard nearly enough from our friends in Joburg.
Yeah, very excited here as well. Listening to that stats, I can already tell that EPCR will win the World Cup, or someone representing this competition, of course, but a great win for Investec and just how they are plowing into the best of the best as far as the players that play the sport is concerned. I'm still with Richard as well as AB. Richard, I think I'll give the floor to you. Just this big occasion, obviously, and just the global positioning, how even as South Africans, we continue to be a part of these big announcements.
Yeah, I think Investec in South Africa has both a leading and unique positioning in this country, in that we are a large, successful, leading South African bank and wealth manager with an international presence and a growing international presence. So to find an opportunity where we can take a partnership like this and a sponsorship like this that reaches both our clients internationally, as Ruth has said, growing in Europe and in the UK in particular, and at the same time in South Africa, is quite a unique opportunity for us. You know, South Africans have very, very high expectations around their sportsmen and women on the field, particularly on the international field. And Investec historically has been very strong at supporting those athletes, men and women, achieve on the international stage. So this is just another step in our journey on that. So we're extremely excited to be associated with the EPCR. It's a name that, interestingly, is not that quite well known in South Africa. And I think through this partnership, as our leading rugby clubs have moved into this European and UK sphere of rugby, you know, for us to support them, be aligned with them. You've heard our value statements around high performance, passion, lots of energy, talent. You can hear that coming from the EPCR and the way our rugby players perform on the field. Yeah. So we're very excited about the association. I think it's going to be a great partnership, and I think it'll be good for our clients and the fans both in South Africa and in Europe and the UK.
Yeah, more to keep us glued together. For you, AB, it's a big job coming. I mean, we're only going into the second season of seeing South African teams in the EPCR. How do we amplify the competition and get it into more South African eyes, more South African psyches as well?
Thanks, Mats. I think, first of all, good morning to everybody. How wonderful is it to be able to have this simulcast both in London and in South Africa at the same time. Look, I think this competition really brings our international positioning to life. We have an opportunity here to celebrate the absolute pinnacle of international club rugby. So many of these tenets and what this competition celebrates in the area of high performance, talent, and absolutely extraordinary achievement is something that I think we can all embrace across our international footprint. From a South African perspective, I think to Richard's point, there are so many proud and excellent South African rugby players that are playing in the EPCR. There's a natural progression, there will be a natural following for this passion point that so many people embrace to be able to follow. So I think our job is to be able to just educate the South African market in particular, help them celebrate and embrace the players that are going to be competing in this global competition. And I think that's the way that we will bring this to life and make it really meaningful for people. Rugby is such a passion point. It's growing in popularity. The World Cup is going to boost rugby's presence around the world. And just being able to be part of that vibe, I think is an excellent opportunity for our brand.
Yeah. I'm going to be taking some questions from the floor. So if any of you have any questions you'd like to ask Richard or AB, you're more than welcome to do that. While you think of your question, I've got one here as well for you, Rich. Should Investec be aligning its sponsorships more closely to its core business, financial services?
You know, we from a South African perspective, we're very well known in this market as a leading financial services company. I don't think that's the message that, the brand message that we're trying to get here. I think the brand message, and AB is more of an expert at this than I am, is really around our international positioning and what we can offer our clients here in South Africa from an international perspective. So it's very important for us to be to send that message. And then, as AB has said, at the same time, you know, why have we chosen sports as a dominant theme in many of our sponsorships? Is that for South Africans, we know we're a sport crazy country, and we punch above our weight in many of the sports that we compete in internationally. This being one of them. We did see, you know, Investec support Super Rugby for many years, and that came to its natural end. And our chief executive, Fani Titi, had challenged us as an executive team. You know, what's next? What is the next unique partnership, sponsorship opportunity that we can get that can send our brand message both in the UK, Europe, and in South Africa? And they're hard to find. It took us a while, and we're very, very pleased. I'm very excited about what this offers us. And it's been very interesting for me this morning listening to the colleagues from EPCR talk about their ambitions around outside of the tournament itself, and their values and how they want to broaden this. And that's exactly how we think. It's how we think about our business. It's about how we think about what impact we have in the communities and the citizens in the countries that we operate. So, you know, the alignment seems very, very good and very close. So I think this partnership will develop over the next 5 years, and that'll be good for us.
Very good for us. Dominic spoke a little bit earlier, Avi, about inspiring, you know, outside of high performance, outside of doing really, really well, it is a competition that wants to inspire. How does Investec coming on board amplify that? How do you make that even bigger and easier to do?
So I think the fact that this is a pinnacle of international club rugby already speaks to out of the ordinary performance. What the world is looking for is for brands to do more than just business. It's more than just about performance. They're looking for brands that are on purpose, that do things that are meaningful and advantageous for the broader society. So we're going to work with EPCR around making sure that we can diversify the sport, bring in women participation, not only as in the officiating realm, but also as players. I think that's going to be highly inspirational as global rugby grows in popularity. The EPCR has an ambition to become a carbon neutral tournament by 2030. We've got incredible sustainability credentials, and we're going to help them achieve that. And of course, from an innovation perspective, I'm really looking forward to our ability to be able to innovate financial products for not only the players that are in the competition, but for players that may be moving on to other professional careers. So we can really bring all that Investec has to offer over and above the pinnacle of international club rugby competition to this world. And I think that is something that will be very inspirational.
Exciting stuff, inspirational stuff as well. I'm going to hand it back to you, Alma, as you get the final thoughts, and also any questions coming through online as well.
Let's see if we have a few questions in the room here. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to ask our panel here on this stage or over in South Africa? I don't see any hands at the stage, David. I don't know if I'm missing anyone. Do we have any questions from the moderator team in the back, just to check if there is anyone joining us online? Nothing at this time. Okay, so nothing burning at this stage. Is there anything in terms of what they've just said that you'd like to respond to, Ruth? Are there any questions that you've been asked in the lead up to this announcement that you feel that we've not touched on?
Covered things pretty well. I think we're very much aligned in terms of the way we take it forward. I am sitting here with a big smile on my face. It's an exciting time. I think we are signalling as Investec we are on the front foot. We've had COVID, we've had many things going on around us. I think we have to accept we will continue to have things going on around us. Uncertainty is here to stay. I don't think it goes away. You know, these are uncertain times. You know, for as long as I've been working in this role, these have been uncertain times. And yet, as Investec, we've worked incredibly hard to get ourselves well positioned to face that which is coming our way. Strength, confidence, be on the front foot, and always have fun. You know, so it's exciting. Sport is incredibly binding. It really brings people together. It's incredibly inspirational. We work with our people to bring out high performance. We have very talented individuals working with us, very talented clients whom we're interacting with all the time. And this is just something exciting for us all to take forward together. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
The Champions Cup obviously has a very big audience in France, but also in Italy. Jacques, very experienced working on the continent, and it's got a strong European identity and a foothold there. Talk to me about Investec's ambitions as far as it pertains to South Africa and the United Kingdom. It's clear, but in all of these other territories that we reach through this competition.
So as Richard said, our core geography is South Africa and the UK. These are our bases. This is where we are growing scale and relevance. Of course, in South Africa, a real scale player. Here in the UK, we are growing our scale and our relevance and continuing. You know, we are positioned at this point in time as 9th from a revenue generating perspective in terms of financial services in the UK. We have great aspirations to take that much, much further as we go forward. And the UK, you know, on our doorstep is Europe. very, very close to us. Our clients, we follow our clients always, and they're not only doing business in the UK, they're absolutely doing business in Europe, and we have been for some time. So growing our presence there, this will enhance our visibility and increase our footprint. We've already done that through a recent acquisition, but continue to do that with our clients. I'm very excited in building that brand recognition and visibility in Europe as well as in the UK.
Okay. We'll return to Dom and Jacques for closing remarks, but Mats, maybe let's round up with you guys, since we don't have many questions here in London. You've posed a few to your panel there.
Yeah, no, they're very, very excited. Happy to wax lyrical about what's happening today, because it is such a big moment, not only for Investec, but for rugby here in South Africa as well. Richard, what are you looking forward to the most in this opening season with Investec and Champions Cup, Challenge Cup coming together?
Well, I'm hoping for a South African team to get to the final.
We're start,
and to follow our booker when they do well at the World Cup. That's what I'd be really looking forward to. No, but I think an important part to these kind of sponsorships is how we activate around it, and how we get our clients and our staff involved. And AB and his team are real champions at that. I know what they've been able to do on the other sports that we support. So getting our clients and our staff more interested in this and to feel that they're part of this journey. And for our South African clients, to follow their teams, and the activation often includes the opportunity to interact with these players, and to meet people that are world-leading athletes in their selected sport, and to get the personal experience with them, which really is what our brand is all about. Because our positioning around the world, how we differentiate ourselves, is not just our products and our services that you can buy online and do it digitally. For us, it's about our people and the relationships we have with our clients. That is the most important thing to us, and you need great people, as Ruth has said, to deliver on that, and to give our clients and our staff the opportunity to interact in a very meaningful way at the top end of this particular sport is very exciting for us. So, yeah, as Ruth said, we're beginning of the journey. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure AB and his team are going to activate this thing very well.
I see there's a lot of smiles in the room. I can already tell that people are going to lobby you for some tickets for Loftus. I knew it, because it's right down the road. So I know it's going to be very, very full for the Bulls-Saracens game. But what else can the people in this room in particular look forward to in galvanizing South Africans behind this competition and this new sponsorship?
I think it's a proud moment for South Africa. Our ability to be able to manifest this pinnacle of international club rugby, I think, is without question. I think that's going to happen either way. I'm really excited, and what's really going to get people's passion up is how we're able to do the other stuff, how we're able to develop the grassroots function of the game, how we're going to be able to integrate more women into the game, how we're going to be able to make this competition more sustainable. I think our clients and our people are looking for something more than what has been come to be expected, and we're looking forward to delivering something that's going to be completely out of the ordinary.
Out of the ordinary, there we go. There's a question in our audience, if we could just get a mic to the gentleman at the back with a lovely blue suit. He's going to stand up now. Your question to our panel, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robin. It's a bit of just a statement and then a question. I'm a referee with the Bulls as well, so rugby is a huge passion of mine. So I just want to say I'm very proud of Investec to be involved in this sort of competition. And Amy's actually just touched on it. What are we going to do for the grassroots and youth to sort of bring the game towards them and expose them more towards the game?
Yeah, so I'm going to do the first part of this, and I think Dom should be able to handle the rest. The way that the competition is organized is that this is the clubs from their respective unions who have their own grassroots activities then come up and compete in the main competition. So in the games that we will have, we will be developing grassroots activation around those particular games and those clubs in the areas that we will be activating. So that's the one piece that we're going to be able to activate. Over and above that is the stuff that we'll be speaking about around sustainability and about the women's involvement, and that is much broader that will play across the rest of the platform. But I'm going to hand over to Dom to speak specifically about what's been done in the past with regards to the competition and grassroots development and what will be coming towards the future.
Over to you in London.
Thanks, Amy. Thank you for the question. We're obviously passionate about using the Champions Cup and indeed the Challenge Cup as a way to amplify and inspire young people to get involved with our sport. Embedded in the DNA of our competition are the 7 participating unions that represent the countries that feed into our competition, along with those 42 clubs. And whether it's the unions, whether it's the clubs, or whether it's us as a competition, we always try to use our activities to inspire and to excite young people to get involved. We've got some very specific activities that we do around our finals, our semi-finals, where we identify ways in which we can work with local rugby clubs, local provincial rugby activity to try and boost grassroots participation in grassroots activity. And as Amy mentioned, we've got some pretty ambitious plans together with Investec around broadening the opportunities, particularly for young people and for women to get involved with our sport. We're very proud with the number of match officials that are female that are coming through our system. Very pleased with that. There's more for us to do. We'd also love to develop with our unions and with our leagues a Champions Cup, which is specifically for the best of the women's professional rugby. So we're working with Investec and with our unions and with our leagues and the clubs to develop that in the future. But that's a great illustration, I think, of innovation, but also making sure that we're giving an opportunity to broaden and enhance the base of rugby.
Perfect. Perfect. I think that's where we're going to leave it.
Thank you so much, Dom. I just want to give one last opportunity. If there's anyone on the floor here who has a question, I don't see any hands out. In the front here, we have a question. Let's hear. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Sam Majingham. I'm a club game in, there's a lot of clubs who are still struggling with finances. What can the group do to support further revenue growth and improve the finances for the club game?
Well, look, Sam, thank you for your question. As I sort of demonstrated on the slide earlier on, we as a board actually are representative of the unions across Europe and South Africa, but also the 3 leagues. So we uniquely get to see very closely the challenges that the clubs are facing across the whole of Europe and South Africa. And for the last couple of years, we've been working really closely with our league counterparts to support them in any way that we can. The most obvious way that we can support directly is through revenue growth, revenue generation. And there's 3 elements that we generate revenue to distribute back into the clubs. One is through television, and we've got some incredible television partners, whether that's TNT in the UK or SuperSport in South Africa, making sure that we've got the strongest possible television contracts to drive revenue. The second part is great partnership. We don't talk about sponsorships, we talk about partnerships. I think today is a great demonstration of that. Investec are partnering with us because they align with our values and we align with theirs. Driving value through partnerships is really important. And the third part is making sure that we maximise our games in terms of attendance. And as I mentioned earlier on, we had a record-breaking season last year with over 1 million people coming through our turnstiles to enjoy the Champions and the Challenge Cup. So our role is to make sure we maximise the revenues, distribute that back into our clubs, but also make sure that we share best practice. And a new innovation that we're doing this year, which of course Investec will be part of, is we're bringing together all the 42 clubs from across Europe and South Africa for the first ever club conference. And we'll host that in Toulouse. And the reason for that club conference is to do 2 things. One, to share best practice, to make sure clubs in France can share their success with clubs in South Africa, clubs in England can share their challenges with opportunities that may exist in Ireland, sharing best practice. But secondly, making sure that rugby can effectively speak with one voice. Sometimes sport can be a little bit guilty of not being great at telling its story. And I think where rugby has an opportunity is through coming together to tell its story really effectively. And that's one of the reasons we're particularly excited about this partnership with Investec, because they have such a big footprint in South Africa as they do in Europe. They will be able to assist us, along with SuperSport, the South African Rugby Union, and the clubs in South Africa, to amplify the wonderful Champions Cup story in South Africa and beyond.
Thank you very much for that, Don. Really inspirational. If we don't have anything else here on the floor, I think we're probably approaching an opportunity now to wrap up. Maybe just final remarks from your side, Mats.
Thank you, Alma. Final remarks, guys. And tickets to Loftus. I'm lobbying for myself here because I really enjoy the games in Pretoria. And the 16th of December is a public holiday in South Africa, so I expect all Cape Townians to be at Cape Town Stadium as well to support the Stormers when they take on the champions La Rochelle. But final thoughts, Abi? Excited?
I'm very excited. We are an international bank and wealth manager. The sponsorship really manifests that positioning. It is a celebration of high performance, of energy, and outstanding talent. And we are really, really, really excited to bring that together in this competition, and to also be able to bring our purpose to life in partnership with the EPCR. As Richard and Ruth have said, it's only the beginning, but we've done a lot of work to be able to find this as an opportunity, and I think we're going to give it all we've got.
Richard?
You know, for some time, the zebra had a thorn in its foot. And we've worked really hard in getting the thorn out of the zebra's foot. And the zebra is galloping. We are growing. And it's exciting to see that this tournament and the ambitions of EPCR around its growth ambitions will align with ours. And so together we look forward to the journey, and I'm sure we're all going to grow. And all of our stakeholders, all of the stakeholders that we associated our two brands with will benefit from this. So I'm excited, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Congratulations, South African office. Congratulations to the UK office as well. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen, to everyone in the room here in Johannesburg. I'm going to hand back over to you guys in the UK, to Ruth, Dominic, Jacques, as well as Alma. Have an amazing day, and may it be an extraordinary new season where we keep doing things that are out of the ordinary.
So much excitement about this event. Just in closing, outside of the 99 sleeps that we have until that big first game kicks off, is there a message you'd like to leave us with?
Buy your tickets for the 25th of May for the first Investec Champions Cup final. Tickets are selling fast. Get your tickets. It's going to be at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah.
Probably the most modern and iconic sports venue in the world at the moment. So we're very proud to be able to host the Champions Cup, the first Investec Champions Cup final there. So I'm looking forward to this first edition. Buy your tickets, they're selling fast.
It's good enough for Beyonce.
It's good enough for Beyonce.
Thank you so much for hosting us here at Investec today. Thank you so much for joining us, Dominic. It was great to hear from you guys. And to our friends in South Africa. This, as we continue in our endeavours to use rugby and the power of sport to bring people together and to unify us across your room down there in Joburg and the one here in London, but also in the wider world in Union. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us here this morning, and we'll see you in December.
Thank you.